As we held on to one another, the sun had completely set, and we made our way back to my home. Aw, how cute. I was not expecting you to be there with a judgmental face, Shiranui. Hi again.
Rather uncouth of you to keep me waiting. Just where the hell have you been?
Shiranui!
Huh. Knowing you two, you likely traveled to Ueno for a quaint date over at D.I. Chaya, didn't you?
Maybe? A tea shop sometimes frequented as a romantic destination for men and women seeking an indelible rendezvous point. I mean, it was better than that, let's be honest.
What are you talking about? If I were to have a rendezvous with the woman I love, I'd pick a more romantic destination, surely.
Ryouma!
Ha! Look at how defensive you've gotten. So, the two of you are finally an item.
What did you come here for? To mock us?
No, actually. Unfortunately for myself, I had neglected to mention something to you earlier this afternoon. Are either of you aware of the Shogi Company?
The name sounds familiar, but I'm having trouble recalling who they could be.
If I remember, they're part of the Hitotsubashi clan, specifically the ones unhappy about Lord Yoshinobu's imposed penitence, right?
A secondary branch of the Takagawa family, of which there are 3. Before becoming shogun, Yoshinobu Takagawa was a member of this house.
Precisely. A bunch of shogunate loyalists and hopeless retainers looking to pick a fight with imperial forces in Edo.
Is that true? Then...
Initially, the Tosa domain arrived with the expectation of subjugating them, but... Unsurprisingly, the Choshu aren't exactly foaming at the mouth for a chance to validate the Tosa's political stature, so their intention to subjugate went ignored. Regardless, if things do eventually come to a head, then I expect some of her former colleagues might still be in Edo, wouldn't you think? If my predictions are correct, as they often are, then I anticipate those hapless ragtag soldiers are preparing themselves for quite the skirmish.
Furies, huh?
So it seems.
Many thanks. About time for you to come through. But why come all the way here just to share this with us?
This is Takasugi's wish. He mentioned how you veer toward reckless tendencies, so I thought I would lend some guidance.
Huh. Never figured him to be much of a Samaritan, but... out of everyone I know, it's sure rich hearing Takasugi call me reckless.
Well, now you know. Best of luck to you both.
Shiranui shot us a sly grin before spinning on his heel and exiting from the house. I like that he was like, "You're finally an item." He's just been waiting.
Wait, Ueno, right? Bet you that's where Nakaoka is. We should do some scouting.
Okay.
Then again, it's gotten pretty late. Maybe tomorrow'll be better. Why don't we sleep together?
I know you were probably hoping by being super cash about it, it would go unnoticed, but Chizuru... What? No!
Why not? You have feelings for me, right? Don't tell me you're going to make me hold out until we have the marriage ceremony.
I'm not saying anyone's holding out, but I'm not ready for this yet.
Hey, if you aren't ready, then I won't force you, but... if you make me wait for too long, I won't be able to contain myself. Better watch out.
Man, the difference between this route and Soma's is just like 180 degrees. From until the last possible moment having the kiss and fun times, this guy's just like, alright, beginning of chapter 3, we're gonna smooch, and then as soon as we get home, we're gonna have the fun times, right? Go, go, go. Like, whoa, I'm not ready, man. And your response to, like, you better look out, because I can't contain it. And she's like, I know. Don't call me. I'll call you. Wink. I know. My instincts instantly screamed vindication. Ryouma was playing me in the palm of his hand. Just then. And then.
Oh,
Ryouma?
stay back. It's just a head rush. Okay.
He was guarded, trying to deflect from his obvious display of pain, but the truth emerged as his hair faded into a shade of stark white. This must be bloodlust. I give him blood. Ryouma, drink my blood.
To crave the taste of blood from the woman I love. You've no idea what that does to a man.
I understand how you might feel, Ryouma, but still.
Forgive me. Wasn't putting all of it on you. Give me that. I'll make the cut myself.
His expression warped, and I almost mistook his frantic gesture as an attempt to confiscate my Kodachi. But I trusted him and handed him the small sword. Are you still going for the neck? Ryouma shakily slunk toward me. An interesting image. Inching so closely I could make out the glisten on his damp skin. Then he loosened the collar of my kimono. Okay. Oh. In my heart, I knew that there was no malice behind his actions, that this was a method of soothing him. But staring into his eyes, those savage, brooding eyes, frightened me, and I could scarcely look back at him. Eventually, he drew the Kodachi out from its sheath and pressed its icy edge against my skin. And then he made a small incision on my neck. Alright. Taking control. His lips tickled me as they began to slurp.
Sorry. Does it hurt?
No, that's not all.
Then why do you withdraw from me?
Drops of blood trickled from out of the sides of his lips as he timidly posed his question. Nothing. The ceaseless pattern of Ryouma inhaling and exhaling against my skin as he drank my blood entranced me.
One day your stubbornness might cost you.
Although Ryouma had made me well aware of his dissatisfaction with drinking my blood, it dwarfed in comparison to the relief I had felt, knowing that his pain would momentarily subside. You both are stubborn. You're perfect for each other. Just a matter of who's going to outstubborn the other. A few days had passed since Shiranui arrived to deliver us the news of the Shogi Company. At last, tensions bubbled to the surface, and the Shogi Company fortified Ueno against the marching Choshu. It came as no surprise, however, that the Choshu rinsed through the Shogi Company without issue. Yeah, unfortunately. Later that night, Ryouma and I made the short trip to Kane Temple in Ueno, where the battle had recently taken place.
I've got a feeling that Nakaoka and his Fury troops must be starving. Fact is, they're probably desperate by now, and I bet they're drinking up corpse blood instead of fresh blood.
Right. Surely Ryouma's feeling was more than just a feeling. If things had panned differently for Ryouma, then he likely would be in the same position as they were, wandering in search of a fresh meal at the risk of insanity. Why, Father? How could you perform such an inhumane experiment on the men of Tosa? I began to contemplate terrifying thoughts when I flinched, hearing footsteps patter toward us. They belonged to none other than... I was wondering. I'm like... Initially, I'm like, Shiranui. Then I'm like, no. Maybe Nakaoka. I'm like, no. Maybe Dad. But the final feeling was Kaoru. Because we have yet to have seen Kaoru again in this route. And you're still dressed as a beautiful woman, my dear sister brother.
Well, well. I've been expecting you to. That's you there, isn't it?
It was Kaoru Nagamo, whose gaze was pointed sharply toward us hidden behind a thick bushy shrub. Somehow she had sniffed out our location, which sent off an unsettling feeling in my stomach. Realizing that our charade was fooling no one, Ryouma shot up to his feet and stepped in the open. I apprehensively followed after him.
Been some time, Kaoru Nagamo. Fancy seeing you here. Not exactly a leisurely destination, though. Guess if Nakaoka and his cronies are here, then it shouldn't surprise me to see you lurking around with him. Mind letting us know what's going on past this entrance? Don't be shy now.
Come now, you're a clever man, Sakamoto. You should have figured it out by now. Haven't you already had the chance to catch up with your old friend? He's been dying to see you. Kaoru's loaded question went unappreciated as Ryouma clenched his teeth in anger.
So, you're the bastard who turned all of my fellow Tosa men into monsters, are you?
Don't you think you're being presumptuous? I merely granted their wish, giving them the power to topple the regime of retainers.
Whatever. You're just one of Yodo's pawns, another brick in the wall of oppressive retainers.
The 15th generation lord of the Tosa domain, he was a fierce, oppressive ruler that encouraged shogunate rule within the Tosa domain.
In fact, the only reason you've got eyes on me is because they ordered you to do so, right? I'm willing to bet they're the ones who told you to rope up the country samurai to use as test subjects. Stop me when I'm wrong.
Doesn't that go both ways? Look at all of those Dauphin who fled the Tosa, searching for their first chance of glory. You, however, were tempted by a different muse. You accepted orders from Lord Yamauchi himself. You were just as willing to exploit the Tosa as we were, weren't you? Yukimura, did he happen to mention all of this to you, or is this the first you've heard of it? She has no idea, eh? See, his entire basis for coddling up with you, pretending to participate in this sick facade was because the Tosa domain had ordered him to. His mission was to extract information about the Shinsengumi from you. When it comes to acts of self-preservation, the man is an expert at lying without batting an eye. He is unworthy of your trust. Come along with me to see your father. He's been waiting for you. I said. Well, we know we can't trust sister brother. And to be fair, I'm gonna save. But to be fair, we have also had our fair share of orders of keeping an eye on Ryouma. We have both been on opposite sides of this feud. And I don't think we've shared with him either the many times we were supposed to be keeping an eye on him for the Shinsengumi. So we had our reasons, and I'm sure he had his reasons. Saying we're together in this could be the right option, but I feel like Kaoru would just be like, well, if you're together in this, shouldn't you have all this information? Shouldn't you be sharing this? And trust is a big thing with Ryouma, so I'm gonna trust him. It would have been a lie for me to say that Kaoru's revelation hadn't stunned me, but I'm sure Ryouma had his reasons for choosing to accept those orders. I mean, the Shinsengumi had initially instructed me to grow close with Ryouma to extract information too. See?
If I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that you don't mind being deceived if he has any reasons? Time and time again, I advised you not to grow attached to this treasonous scum.
Well, that's my decision to make, not yours. Yeah! Go Chizuru! Stand up to your brother!
Thanks, Chizuru. I knew you'd understand.
Sister brother does not, though.
Chizuru, you bitch! What? So you're going to trust him over me?
Wait, what? Kaoru's voice suddenly changed, shifting from a girlish squeak to a seething masculine tenor. Right, I kind of figured that's what was happening. I got you figured out, brother. For a moment, I almost thought that I was speaking to a different person.
Finally, your true self emerges. Quit the kabuki act and show us who you really are. Shut the hell up! You bastard! What did you tell Chizuru? What bullshit did you tell my little sister?
Little sister? My jaw dropped. What in the world was happening? Kaoru, however, was quick to react as Ryouma and I stood in disbelief. Whoa, very quick. She unsheathed her kodachi from out of her kimono and hurled it toward Ryouma. Ryouma! I strained my voice, yelling to grab his attention.
Yeah!
So quick on the draw. Ryouma deftly sidestepped out of the sword's path and drew his pistol from its holster. He wrapped his slender finger around its trigger, then...
Ugh! That kimono's a little small on you, eh? Do all of us a favor and reveal yourself. I grow tired of your arrogance, Sakamoto. Realize that the only thing keeping you alive is Nakuoka, who begged pitifully for your life. That is all. But unlike him, I hold no sympathy for you. Not after your constant mockery of me. More than anything, I find myself disgusted that my precious little sister would be seduced by a shameless womanizer such as yourself.
All of a sudden, Kaoru ripped the kimono off of his body with a menacing grin stretched over her face. Its finely woven sakura pattern fluttered in the air. Then... there he is!
So be it, Ryouma Sakamoto. From this moment onward, I will show you no mercy. Consider it an honor to be blessed with the chance of dueling the head of the Yukimura clan, you insolent serf. I cannot wait to tear you apart.
The head of the Yukimura clan? And judging from the attire, was Kaoru a man? I mean, by that logic, you could say the same about yourself, girl.
I was saving this revelation for the next time both of us were with Kodo, but... I'd hate for it to come from the mouth of that fraud instead of my own. Let me be perfectly frank with you. I am heir to the Yukimura clan, its surviving son. I am your brother. Behold the proof.
Grasped in Kaoru's palm was a kodachi nearly identical to my own in shape, size, and etchings. Prior to this, Sen had said that I was the sole survivor of my clan, but... yeah, I wonder if Sen knew about that. But... why? If you're actually my brother, then why have you been separated from me for all these years?
It was to protect you, Chizuru.
Huh?
The village where the two of us were raised, Yukimura Village, was ravaged by humans. Much later on, a letter from the Nagamo clan, the demon clan of Tosa, had reached us. In it, they had urged for us to visit their village, should we find no other place in which to reside. Adding insult to injury, the letter was addressed to you specifically, Chizuru.
Me?
Their intentions couldn't have been any clearer. It was obvious from the start that the Nagamo clan saw you as nothing more than a child-bearer. In order to protect you, I decided to travel to the Nagamo clan's village posing as you.
Really? That's interesting if that is the case. I wonder, like, how old were they? Because I always thought they were really young. But then, with the revelation that Dad has experimented on Chizuru for a long time, her memory's faulty because of that, not because she was very young when everything happened. Man, if Kaoru actually went of his own volition to protect his sister, that changes my opinion of him considerably. Okay, continue.
As far as details concerning my treatment in their custody go, well, some things are better left unsaid.
From what Kaoru had been describing, my brother, was traumatized by the horrific treatment at the Nagamo clan's hand.
If I had never chosen to protect you back then, I too could have lived a peaceful, fulfilling life in Edo. This isn't to say I blame you for these circumstances. Quite the contrary, actually. I just wish you knew how much I loved you.
While I received a stable upbringing under the patient care of father, there were unspeakable evils witnessed by my brother which I would never understand. All this time, he suffered unbeknownst to me.
Enough of the bullshit. I extend the courtesy of letting you speak, and this is the crap you give us. You posed as her. Give me a break. Are you trying to imply that she owes you something because you wanted to play dress-up? What? Sounds like loser talk to me. How's this? You're a snot-nosed entitled brat, mouthing off every reason under the sun for why you were made to suffer. Nothing but projection to me. You're the one who lacked the balls to exit that piss-poor circumstance. Way to blame it on her. That's all there is to it.
Oh, now you made him mad.
Don't lecture me like you know anything about us! I won't stand to hear it!
Kaoru, incensed by Ryouma's blunt provocations, attempted to slash at his foe out of rage, but... without flinching, Ryouma blocked the incoming blade with the barrel of his pistol. Dang. As the two were locked in a tense stance, Ryouma grabbed a hold of Kaoru's arm to pull him back. Before he could adjust his footing, however...
The hell are you guys doing over there? Are you members of the Shogi Company?
a nearby soldier barked at us.
Damn it. I cannot afford for them to see the Furies right now. I'll have to let you escape for now. Consider yourself lucky, Sakamoto. And you too, Chizuru. I will await you in the land known as Shirakawa, where the two of us were born. Yukimura Village, along with Kodo. I have faith we'll see each other again soon.
Wait!
The soldier fired his rifle into the darkness to startle us. However, the bullet ripped through the darkness, hitting the blank wall as Kaoru vanished.
We'll be goners if we stick around. We gotta run for it, Chizuru.
Oh, okay! I had no chance to react as Ryouma clutched my wrist and practically dragged me away. I mean, I can't blame you. That was a lot of revelation in a short span of time. We spent a few moments in the shadows to recollect ourselves, taking a quick peek inside Kane Temple to survey the damage before heading back home. What we discovered was a hellish sight, which registered just after the foul stench stung our noses. Corpses, mutilated beyond recognition, whose flesh had been chewed and mauled without remorse, if not reduced to a grisly pile of mangled chunks. Seeing as the Imperial Army was careful to hide any evidence of their Fury affiliates, I could tell that even more corpses had been recently disposed elsewhere. Nasty.
Phew. Man, feels like 10 years of my life have been shaved off. Just like that. Though technically I'm already dead, so shaving off of what, I'll never know. Guess it's kinda weird to mention stuff like that. Maybe now's not the time.
Ryouma offered bits of playful banter, perhaps to assuage my mind from the repugnant scene, but... My whole body continued to shiver.
Are you alright, Chizuru? You're shaking.
I'm fine. There was no hiding the trauma in my face, though.
That wasn't easy to take back there, was it? Those things he was saying, I mean.
No, that's not it. I believe that my brother has undergone far more than I could comprehend. For years I lived in blissful ignorance of my true lineage as a demon, but learning of Kaoru's existence, his anguish and his isolation crushed me. It felt cruel to imagine that I was given a privileged life while he suffered alone. I felt so guilty. Months of contemplating the burden of my sins in regard to father's actions paled in comparison to this.
Kaoru's his name, right? The man's filth, I tell ya.
Filth? Why?
He knew exactly what he was doing. Baiting you into some story just to assign the blame somewhere other than on himself. It's a ploy. His path was his own, and yours was your own. You bear no responsibility for that. As far as I'm concerned, it's a scummy move only filth would do.
That's not true. I mean, if I were in my brother's position, then there's a chance that I could have... If I were made to endure the harsh, barren life under the strict rule of the Nagamo clan, well, perhaps Kaoru could have become a different person and made a difference for our people. I couldn't guarantee that I wouldn't become as bitter as he was today, so it was beyond me to judge him.
You are nothing like him. Even if your upbringings were exactly alike, the two of you are different people. Twins or not. I'd bet my life on it.
Ryouma kept his eyes locked on me, choosing each delicate word with purpose. My heart felt so warm. That is something I really love about Ryouma consistently. He's constantly like, you are your own person, you are wonderful, don't feel like you have to atone for your family at all. Like, choose your own path, I will support you, but don't do anything crazy because your family made bad choices. I consistently love that about him. Do you really think so? I don't need to feel responsible for this, even though maybe I could have done something?
No, you don't. Things happen. We beat onward. Aren't you tired of hearing it by now from me? Only a fool would ask someone to atone for the sins of their ancestors. We are our own people.
Ryouma's words of assurance gradually restored my confidence and brought a thin smile to my face. It was one of his best traits. Agreed. I adored the way he spoke to me, his inspiring allure. Even during the time in which the shogunate was still an institution in Edo, he foresaw all of this strife. Regardless of whatever anyone had told me about him, or how they believed the future would unfold, their words came second to Ryouma's, who continued to put his faith in what he believed was best for all.
Are you still a little shaken?
Ryouma narrowed his eyes in a solemn gaze, making it impossible to tell him anything other than the truth. Yes. Unlike Ryouma, whose bravado often left him no room to experience feelings of doubt, I was easily taken by feelings of guilt. Perhaps I wondered it would have been in everyone's best interests had I been the one to become a Nagamo. And she's back to it again. What worth did I have to offer that justified the sacrifice he made on my behalf? Ryouma's eyes shifted slowly around my face, scanning me in silence. Suddenly, he walked over to a nearby candle and gently blew out the flame flickering on the wick. Ryouma? I was puzzled and I called out to him.
Come here. Chizuru.
Huh? He and I were already centimeters apart. How much closer could I get to him? Sit in his lap. Do it. Do it.
I said, come here.
The second time around, he urged me more assertively, going so far as to grab my hand to draw me in. Oh. What's happening? When I said sit on his lap, was I being... Whoa! Yes! 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 For all of this, yes! Only centimeters separated our faces, so the tickle of his fresh breath grazed my skin coolly. Because the room was enveloped in darkness, however, I had no way of telling what kind of expression he was wearing. Take a wild guess. All I could tell was that his gaze had been pointed towards me. We may have kissed before, but... the intimacy we were sharing in this tender moment was somehow different, and my heart began to race.
Whenever you feel hopeless, or stuck in your head, I want you to remember what I'm about to tell you. There's no sense in feeling guilty. Not now, not ever. Focus on the moments that matter to you. Like lying beside me on this bed.
I'm not really beside you. I'm kind of on you. I love this picture, though. As Ryouma whispered softly into my ear, it was as if I was caught in a spell. I couldn't move a muscle. All of the tendrils wrapped around my aching heart were starting to loosen, one by one. As I stared back into the eyes of the man I loved, I responded, fully giving in to his entrancing advice. Aw, girl. This line. Oh. Oh, it hurts my heart. Do I deserve to feel happy? I've been able to live in ignorance for years. Because of me, there's a chance that my twin was doomed to a fate he'd never needed to experience.
Free yourself of these tiresome thoughts. Don't worry anymore. I'm here.
After placing his index finger on my lips, he soon followed with a touch of his plump lips. At first, it was a mere peck. Then I felt his lower lip scoop mine, pulling me in closer as he stroked my cheek with his coarse hand. His tongue was like magic. Expelling each of my anxious thoughts with soft, sweet flicks. I'm tempted to make that the title of this video. Oh, Ryouma magic tongue. I love it. It became hard to form thoughts as I lost myself.
You're safe here. No need to speak. No need to think. I feel safe with you. I find peace in your tranquil heart. So let me help you find peace in mine.
I nodded, offering him the only gesture I could give while keeping up with the pace of his eager lips. The feelings of guilt plaguing me were releasing their hold on me. Nothing mattered as much as Ryouma did to me. Woo! He nibbled playfully on my lower lip. Then my head swirled in ecstasy as Ryouma lowered me onto the futon from his strong arms. Yes, I would have been absolutely shocked if there was no fun times with Ryouma, so I am very happy about all of this.